feels with me. Hey, everybody, that is an underrated pop song. Feels, Calvin Harris, Pharrell Williams, Katy Perry, Big Sean on the cut, and Joe Morrison, 49SAF Pod. How are you doing? I hope you're having a great start to your week or whatever day it is you're listening to this podcast. It's the 49SAF Pod. Today we are talking to Mike Jipping. Myself and Aaron Baca got to talk to Mike in March. And, you know, Mike was a fixture at the Beartooth for a long time. I don't know all the different things he did at the Beartooth. I'm sure there were many in myriad. And he broke out to start his own natural juice soda company, Beach Tribe Soda Works. So we're going to talk about Beach Tribe and his early stage journey pretty quick here. And we're going to talk for about 40 minutes. But first, two things. One is news about the Alaska Angel Conference. One is news about Mike Jipping. First thing, May 9th, starting around 3 p.m. I think it's a 3 o'clock. Yeah, it's a 3 o'clock start. We are holding the final event for the Alaska Angel Conference. It will be at the 49th State Brewing Company. It's a public event. And look, you can get your tickets at aac2019.eventbrite.com. You can also find that link on our various social media and our website, 49saf.com. It would really be helpful if you bought tickets at the $49 and $99 level. So there are 3 levels of tickets. Look, there's going to be some food included in the ticket, and we're actually bringing up somebody remarkable, the CEO of Seamless.ai, Brandon Bornanson, who is a portfolio company of one of our advisory committee members, Kevin Croy. He is going to be the keynote for this event. You're going to have a great time, and you're going to see the finalists of the Alaska Angel Conference pitch. Somebody is walking away with $100,000 or more in an investment at this event. Come, enjoy, connect, do fun things. We're trying to put on a really great event for the community and for our community, and we have to pay for it. So what else? Something about Mike Jipping, and I'm just going to plug this. This guy is going to ride 300 miles in 3 days in Northern California to raise money for No Kid Hungry. It's part of Chef Cycle, which is an endurance event for people involved in the food industry. And you will also be able to find links to that donation opportunity on our various social media and in the show notes here. Or you can chase down Mike Jipping's Beach Tribe Soda Works page or connect with him on Facebook. All right, without further ado, without further singing from me, let's talk with Mike and Aaron and learn about the Beach Tribe.
Most all sodas up here are made with extract, so you're not using anything fresh. And so what we're doing is starting with ginger beer. I order boxes of ginger and use a hydraulic cold press. So basically it's just smashing the ginger, all the juice out of the ginger. So when you are finished with that ginger, essentially, you know, nothing is the only use for it would be like in your composter. We've got basically everything out of that, and then you're using that fresh juice in your brew, in your water, with the other ingredients. And so everything in the ginger beer is cold pressed ginger, lemon, and a little habanero pepper, and then to sweeten it, we're using raw unfiltered honey. And basically we're brewing it, you know, like you do a beer, but not pitching any yeast, and cold crashing it, you know, get it as cold as possible, as soon as possible, and then carbonating it.
I can hardly cook, right? I mean, like I just tried to make a 5-ingredient turkey jalfrezi recipe last night. It worked out and it went pretty well. It's the second time I've made it. But I think this is just a different universe, right? I mean, the people who can make a complex product and try to sell it based out of a lot of different ingredients, it's just something I'm not used to. So how did you end up here at this concept?
That's a that's a great question. I'll try to be as brief as possible, but essentially, I was working at the Beartooth with a lot of great people in house. With everybody in the back. The whole concept of the moose tooth and the bear tooth. I mean, let's say the moose tooth with pizza, right? You can get pizza just about anywhere, but where are you going to go if you ever get the privilege to go in the back in the prep kitchen? In the mornings, all those ingredients that are going on that pizza are fresh, probably cut that day or maybe the day before, but they're back there getting crazy with the with the veggies and everything else. So I'm working with these kind of people that are awesome, and they're creating new recipes all the time. And then I'm also working with the food people, the food systems of Anchorage and Alaska, and we're talking about geeky foodie stuff. And then I'm also directing events where we're having these various food events. And then when it comes to the movies, we're at the Beartooth, we're also trying to get, like, we started doing this food film festival, right? So I'm immersed into that culture, and then I'm also seeing a lot of this entrepreneurship. And I've been a home brewer, and I felt like some of the needs that we have up here in Alaska have a lot to do with fresh. I mean, you can find stuff. I'm also a commercial fisherman, so I've been out in the bush a lot, and fresh product out there is difficult to come by. It needs to be shelf stable. Sometimes you have some of those cans in there that you don't know how old it is, right? So it's like we're really craving, and there's a need for fresh. And so, kind of armed with that, I was home brewing, and I also have a family. I have 3 little girls. And so, I made my wife a beer for her birthday. That was really cool. But then when it came to the kids, it was like, what am I going to do? So I started goofing around with making different craft soda. And even the ginger beer has gone through tons of different changes to the recipe. But basically, the concept was, being as fresh as possible, creating something that, I mean, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to say it's healthy. That's a weird thing to say, but really it's just cold pressed ginger, lemon, habanero, and honey, like I said, and it's less sweet than it is more spicy. And so I'd like to think that you could drink a lot of it and be fine with that. So I don't know if that exactly answers your question, but that's sort of the world that I came from and what I'm moving around in.
So I am something of a ginger fanatic. So I'm really particularly excited to taste and drink and have this here. And I also come from New Mexico originally. So anything chili related, spicy, I'm really excited about. So I know people are often asking you about what other flavors might you have in the future, but I'd kind of like to hear what brought you to ginger beer specifically, because it's medicinal, it's anti-inflammatory. I don't know. I carry ginger chews with me everywhere, and I always have ginger beer in the fridge because, it just helps with stomach issues, or I get car sick, all of those things. So what made you choose ginger beer in such a high quality, high density, or you can really taste the ginger. So what made you go that route?
Well, that's a great question. I really think I landed on ginger beer because that's something that I really loved, and hadn't really, like, I would go around and try all these different ginger beers. I had some of my favorites, still have some of my favorites, but still felt like I hadn't found it yet. And then as I was walking down this road of this craft soda thing, ginger beer is already a thing. It's almost like a bridge soda in a sense that people use it for all different reasons. Like you said, they use it medicinally. They use it as a mixer, so it's like a party treat. It's also something that is used, in small amounts. I've heard all these stories from people from around the world that they've grown up with it in their childhood, from Panama or Jamaica or, Mexico, different. So they all have their different stories. Even these people from Ethiopia stopped me recently. Oh, this tastes just like what we have back home, And so it just kind of stuck. And then it was also about the kind of keep it simple idea. So it's like, hey, if I'm going to do this, let's just keep it simple. There's only a few ingredients, and because I really do want to scale it. So that part is what I'm really, focused on right now. But like the other day we brewed a 15-barrel batch, and it was like 350 pounds of ginger or something like that.
How many cans do you get from a barrel, or are you primarily putting them in kegs for distribution? So give us an idea of the quantity of that 15 barrels.
Yeah. Okay. So 15 barrels is like 465 gallons. So that's a lot. It's like 30 half-barrel kegs, right? So like your regular beer keg, there's like 30 of those. If you break it down to the 5-gallon, there's 6 of those into a barrel. So I don't know. That's a lot. And then as far as cans go, you could get a couple cases or, like 50 cans to one of those 5-gallon kegs. And so I am getting it out around town in kegs. So there's different places that have it on tap, and then also in cans. And we sell cans around town and also through the market.
So I see you have some treats for us. What do you have here today?
Yeah. Uh-oh, party. So I brought some along for the office. So recently I made a couple of one-off sodas, basically in the same world as ginger beer, but one is it's a star anise soda, like a black licorice. And I was inspired from this soda that I'd heard about, like an ouzo soda. And then another one is a Jamaican or Caribbean ginger beer. So it's much more spicy, but it's also a lot sweeter. And it has, besides the ginger, lemon, habanero, it has agave and fresh pineapple juice and raisins and cinnamon, so a little bit of star anise, sweet orange peel. And then we just amped up the ginger and the habanero too. So it's pretty spicy.
So let me get this straight. You have a flagship product that is the ginger product, right? Like that's mainly what you sell.
Correct.
And then you have specialty products, sort of one-offs, almost like rotating beers in a brewery, but you're doing kind of like rotating new sodas. Is that right?
Yeah, so I have the original that I got a really fancy label made up, and it's taken a long time. It has the nutrition facts, and so we're able to scale that one to start. And then at the markets, primarily the Saturday market, I've been producing smaller batches and getting them out to the public. And I always have taste for people, and if they think that's great, then they'll buy, like a 4-pack or a growler or something of the one-offs. And I've been doing it now. Last summer, we got started with South Anchorage Farmers Market, and it was an amazing experience. So, there's so many people that go through there. And so I was able to dial in a lot of recipes. So this year, like at least where I'm at right now, I already have several recipes that I've been, continually making over and over, but I just haven't, As far as the artwork, I've been trying not to skimp on the artwork, and as you know, the artwork is expensive. So the next one that we're going to be featuring with a label will be called Red Dragon Punch, and it's a fresh pomegranate soda, and it's targeted probably more towards the kids, something that my kids drink. My kids don't really drink this ginger beer very much. It's a little too spicy for them.
So I just think it's, I have a lot of friends who don't drink, but, and so it's really great to see this, your ginger beer out whenever, because it gives them an option. You know what I mean? You don't want people, so whether or not you drink, you can go to, or, double shovel here soon, right? And get the ginger beer and feel like you're part of the group. So do you feel as though maybe like the kombucha, I don't know, the kombucheries or whatnot maybe led that way? Or do you think maybe Beartooth did with the root beer? Because even that's like a special treat. And so, because I don't know, have breweries been offering non-alcoholic beverages for a long time?
So yeah, that's a great question. I mean, the Beartooth, Moose's Tooth has had the root beer and cream soda since the beginning. Yeah. And then they actually had a ginger ale that they discontinued quite a few years ago. So they've had that option for a while, but they're definitely very sweet, sugary, like dessert kind of a soda. And then it is a great option for people that are either designated drivers or people that don't drink to be part of it. And then I am doing an event coming up with Recover Alaska, and that should be a lot of fun. We're doing it at Uncle Leroy's, and we're actually having a bartender that's going to do mocktails and use a few different ones of my soda to make drinks out of. And
I'm out of it. What's Uncle Leroy's?
Oh, Uncle Leroy's is a really cool independent coffee shop here in town, 36th and Arctic in the Jens Plaza next to Sweet Caribou. And it's been around for maybe a little over a year and a half at that location, but he started off in like a food truck and did events for a few summers and found his niche. And it's really fun little spot. He's doing obviously First Fridays and getting music in there and just having different events on a regular basis.
So this is in conjunction with Recover Alaska, which is promoting alcohol-free lifestyles and recognizing that Alaska has some significant challenges with alcoholism. So
speaking of Uncle Leroy's and Beach Tribe Soda Works, I did see your presentation at 1 Million Cups, and Uncle Leroy's is a coffee shop, but it's been very successful. And I think a lot of that has to do with the Lifestyle Brand Association, which I think is something you're really moving towards, which is why you don't want to skimp on artwork or labeling, because you want people to identify their lifestyle with your brand, right? So could you speak a little bit on that?
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, because I think that leads us over to that Chef Cycle event as well. I want people to connect with like a healthy lifestyle, with adventure, with, travel, with doing things that are outside of your comfort zone. With this, what I'm planning on for May is the Chef Cycle event down in Santa Rosa to represent Alaska, to raise money for No Kid Hungry is the organization. And we're going to be riding 3 days in a row, 100 miles each day on road bikes around Santa Rosa, so that Northern California, Sonoma County, Napa. And it's a good example of how, to be perfectly honest, I've never ridden 100 miles in one day. And so to do it 3 days in a row is daunting, but it's definitely something that I love the idea of the challenge, and I love the idea of the cause. My wife is a elementary school teacher, so No Kid Hungry. Besides other things, they also are really promoting, breakfast for kids and school breakfast more in particular, and the importance of it. And so I think that is a cause that is dear to my heart. But then also just I think it just brings up so many different questions along with it that have to do with poverty related issues and health related issues. So I heard about it from a friend of a friend, and I was like, okay, I'm in. And then it's like, oh.
So tell me about your team. Is it a relay race, or does every person have to ride the 100 miles a day?
Yeah, it's not a relay. It's every person has to ride the entire thing. And right now I'm looking for more crazy people like myself to ride, but otherwise I'm fine with it. I'm going to do it. And if people want to, support with some donations, they can go to No Kid Hungry or Chef Cycle, and there's on the website, it says support a rider, and you can either look up Team Alaska or Mike Jipping and find it there.
So I tried to convince my husband to join your team, and he's even a little nervous about riding for 3 days, 300 miles, and we just got a touring bike for him, so not a road bike. But that said, I also saw that Brooke Williamson is going to be there from Top Chef, so I was hoping I could tag along and get to meet her. But so do you have an ask for for Alaskans? If how would they contact you to join your team? Or Joe, didn't you consider riding with Mike?
Yeah, well, okay, so I'll just confess. So I saw that Mike was like, hey, I'm doing this thing, and it's going to be 3 100-mile rides, and here we go. And I was like, oh, that sounds great. I should do that too. So I did all this work. I got my bicycles fixed up. I talked to a past relationship in the food business. It's like, hey, mind if I say I'm associated with your food business? He's like, no response. So I contacted Mike. Mike's like, that's fine. You can be part of Beach Tribe for this. And I used to ride. 2 things happened. One, I did my first ride a little while back. I only got 9 miles in, 3 hills, and I was like, instantly, I was, oh no, this was a terrible idea. The second thing that happened is I realized we almost kind of have a board meeting that day. So I really kind of didn't want an out from this because it would have been so transformative. I mean, the training schedule that you should have if you're going to take this on, you need to be on a bike like every other day minimum. But anyway, Mike, so how can people get a hold of you to talk about Chef Cycle? And I am sorry I'm not going, and I need to A, find another cycling event, and B, try to clear my calendar for 2020. But how can they get in touch with you, man?
Yeah, that's they go to Facebook, the Beach Tribe Soda Works Facebook, and message there. I'll get it. They can email me, beachtribemike@gmail.com. And, even if you go to the Beach Tribe Soda Works website, there's a spot you can drop a message. So any one of those would be awesome. And, I encourage you to do a cycling event, and we'll look forward to next year. And then if you're in town and you want to do any riding, I'm going to need, and that's another maybe ask, is like if there are people out there that want to go for a ride, or I need to stay accountable. Like you said, I should have my butt on the seat at least every other day. Last night I did 30 miles at Run Wild Fitness, where we did cycle in a movie. And the Clean Air Challenge here in Alaska is the weekend before this chef cycle event. So there's a lot of people out there that are training right now for that event. And so, things like that where you're spinning for a couple hours, that's a good way to do it. But for me, I'm not very good at doing the trainer. So I like to be outside riding, and the conditions are pretty terrible to be on the road right now. But so you got to take it wherever you can get it. But if there are people that want to go for a ride, just give me a shout on Facebook or message, and that would keep me honest.
So I have a question that popped into my head. What's the difference between ginger ale and ginger beer?
So we could Google it, but
I want to hear it from you.
I think that, I've looked it up a million times and I have the question all the time, but the general answer is like ginger ale is a ginger soda that is much sweeter and less spicy, and a ginger beer is something that is much less sweet or drier and more spicy. That's primarily the difference that you're going to find.
Okay.
Well, I have a question too, and this is sort of a little bit of, well, just getting right down to it. Mike, why did you start this business?
There's lots of reasons. I think primarily, because I'm very fortunate to be, in the position that I am. But I wanted to lead by example, I think, is where it really gets down to it. And I have a lot of living to do. And it's like, okay, things seemed to line up. And it was like, who's going to do it? Who's going to do it? Who's going to do it? And all of a sudden I looked in the mirror. I was like, I guess it's me.
I was just listening to an interview with Yvon Chouinard, and CEO or president, and the guy who started Patagonia. And he said that he had heard somewhere that if you want to study an entrepreneur, understand an entrepreneur, you need to look at juvenile delinquents. And it's because, they look at the status quo and they're like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. And I saw a lot of similarities between your 1 Million Cups presentation and some of the things that he was saying. So, which is why I brought up the lifestyle brand and moving slow. So do you want to speak on that at all a little, about how, you have the flagship ginger beer and you're moving towards scalable, but it doesn't sound like you're willing to compromise the quality and the positive association with the lifestyle and still continuing to live your lifestyle at the same time?
Yeah, that's a great question. Hopefully, my I was a perfect kid. I was never in trouble. And so I don't know where, I have no association with juvenile delinquency, nor do I promote it. But no, that I love that book, Let My People Go Surfing. That was one book a long time ago that I read. I really appreciated it, and I appreciate his style. But yeah, you're right. Like, there are different ways to do anything. And I just feel like for this particular product, I'm working with building the lifestyle by this, building the story at the same time. And I'm not in a hurry, which comes along with various challenges and problems and just trying to, to afford to put gas in the car sometimes or whatever like that. But I think it's all for the right reasons. And I think that, I totally believe in the product, and I believe in the method and the process that we're doing. And I think that we're seeing progress. If I was doing something and it was just, I didn't see any progress, I'd table it or dump it right away. There's lots of other opportunities out there as well. But I just think that from all the response, especially in the markets, that's the great thing about doing these Saturday markets is this one-on-one on a constant basis. And people of all shapes and sizes, all demographics, all ethnicities connect with ginger beer, and then the freshness. I think it'd be different if I was selling this super sweet extract product. And the other part is I want to be part of the growing food system up here, and connecting, like using my network and resources to help other people connect and do more of this kind of thing.
Food is such a thing in Alaska. I think I've said this on the cast before, but it's we all have these, I feel like different stakeholders have these different industries that they're so passionate about, right? Whether it's ocean or energy or natural resource related industries, right? So a variety of industries that everybody's passionate about, and that's their focus. And I sort of feel like food, I know that there's more of an institutionalized focus on it now, and like people saying it's a thing, and there's clustering and efforts to make the food system a thing and food security. But I sort of feel like it kind of grew organically with people wanting to build those businesses. So I don't know. I'm just piping up, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, and there's just so much opportunity. I think the last thing I heard was we're importing 95% up here. I mean, we're an island that's just hanging out. And I was listening to a recent couple of podcasts that you did with Pat Race, and then with the entrepreneurs, and the earthquake. I really think it was quite amazing to see how everyone pulled together, and how we bonded and really pushed through a lot of challenges, and still are. But man, I mean, when you think about our food system in that respect, and how delicate it is, and how much we are relying on the lower 48 and others, it's like I just want to continue to encourage more people that are involved in growing our food system up here to go for it.
Right on. Well, one thing that you talked about, Mike, or that I think Aaron brought up, was 1 million cups in your presentation there. And, oh, neato, my video's back. So talking a little bit about 1 million cups, I just wanted to say one thing to the community about it. And that is that it's really the right entry point into the Alaska entrepreneurial ecosystem. So and I'm going to try to minimize the geek out, and I'm sure that we'll dial some of this back. But two things. People say, like, where do I start? Where do I start? Where do I start? Where do I start? I want to do a thing. I want to do a thing. I want to do a thing. Well, the answer is you need to be able to bring together your idea and filter it downward and be able to present it to a community, and that community can support you, right? And that's kind of the concept between 1 million cups. So as far as I know, that's where we start, generally speaking, in the ecosystem. Not a perfect analogy. That's in Anchorage. There are other outlying communities. I get it. But if you're starting somewhere, that's a good place to start. The second thing that I wanted to bring up is Mike's experience in his time at the market. So I'm going to go back to it. Mike, why did that matter so much to you?
Well, like you said, as far as the 1 million cups, that I went to several of the 1 million cups and got to meet the community, and it basically boils down to, okay, you got this idea. Yeah, sounds good. Looks good on paper. Now, like, can I try some ginger beer? Yeah, you could make, on numbers, I could do numbers all day long and tell you, like, well, if I made, 15 barrels every week, times, it'd be this much per month, this much per year, yada, yada, yada. It's like, oh, well, can I try some? Yeah. So essentially, like, it forced me to just do it, right? Number one, to get product out and to even try new things continuously. And then the market was instant feedback. I mean, talk about instant feedback. It's been awesome. I've seen it. It's pretty much, thickened my skin, because it's not all been positive, but like I'll have someone come up and oh, here, would you like to try some? Okay. And their experience could just be like, oh God, that's terrible. Like they're not hiding it. And then it'd be like, oh, well, what was it about it? And so then you do that times a couple hundred each day. And then you do that over and over and over, and you start to see some patterns in what people like or what people don't like. And for a long time, I just held on to, I guess, like my values and my quality considerations, and would take all this stuff in and start putting it together and then make choices based on that. But essentially, like growing it, like you were saying earlier, organically, as opposed to just me imposing, hey, this is good, you're going to like this. And if you don't, too bad.
So if you hadn't have done that, if you hadn't have taken the step to make your product and then taken it to the market and received that kind of feedback, what do you think the outcome would have been? And just describe that alternate universe where Mike says, this is the good product and I'm going to put it out there for sale.
Well, if I hadn't done that, I'd probably still be in dreamland, just considering doing it. Like this was, for me, fortunately, it was affirmative in the sense where that people were like, hey, I really like this. I want to see more of this. Keep going, keep going, keep going. But yeah, if I wasn't, I just think people, especially up here in Alaska, it's more like you can't just put one over on somebody, or if you can only do it for so long, right? I mean, we're so connected with each other, and especially for me, working in a public place like the Moose Tooth or the Bear Tooth. I mean, I see people on a regular basis all the time, so it's. And I didn't want to do that either.
So my last question, and I'm sure Aaron has other questions, but this is my last one. It's a little tricky. Mike, what is the one top thing you learned by talking to your customers all summer long at farmers markets?
The one what thing?
Just the most important takeaway from talking to your customers, because it sounds like you talk to your customers all the time.
Yeah, that's a tough one. The one thing,
or multiple things. I mean, what have you gotten out of talking to your customers so frequently?
Yeah, I think that actually, I really think that we have on our label, fresh is best, right? And I think that came from a lot of these conversations, that so many people up here are craving like that freshness, right? And this is so many people like, oh, I don't drink soda, but this tastes so fresh and so good. Or, we would get that continuously. I love the concept of you guys making, juicing the ginger right now. I can taste it. So I think if anything, it was probably like, that's what's going to separate us, is this freshness. And so it also is something that has made me question, because through 1 Million Cups and these different entrepreneurship events, people often ask about the scalability. Where are you going to go with this? You could go global with this. It's like, oh God. How would you keep the freshness of this ginger beer that you can drink right here in Anchorage, Alaska, if I sent it to China or something like that, So it's posed a lot of different questions, but we'll get there someday.
So I think my last question is, and I've heard the answer to this, but if you would like to share the story behind the name of Beach Tribe Soda Works.
Okay.
I think it's pretty cool.
Well, it is. So it's something that has been part of my life forever. I'm going to try this one on you, see what you think of this, but I'll elaborate, but I think the beach is where our dreams lie, and the tribe is how we're going to attain them, right? Beach tribe. But essentially it comes from me being a commercial fisherman and we came up with it on the beach. But my wife and I each were born. She was born in Southern California on the beach, and I was born in Holland, Michigan, on the beaches of Lake Michigan. And so we would argue about who had more beautiful beaches. And so before we got married, we rode our bikes. We toured the West Coast for a month, and then for our honeymoon, we toured the beaches of Lake Michigan from like Green Bay, Wisconsin. We followed Lake Michigan all the way down to Holland, Michigan. And so it's been part of we also traveled around the world, and we pretty much, those are our destinations. So when we were all powwowing on the beach, making ginger beer, we came up with Beach Tribe.
Right on. Well, that's Mike Jipping of Beach Tribe Soda Works and Aaron Baca of the 49 SAF. We are going to close it out. You can find more about Mike Jipping and Beach Tribe Soda Works and his desire to ride 3 days, 100 miles each day in Northern California to raise money for No Kid Hungry. Find all that information on Beach Tribe Soda Works, either the website or the Facebook page. And my final question, what kind of delicious pop music is Mike Jipping listening to as he leaves this office?
Oh, God. All right, I'm going to go there. Let's do Lady Gaga.
It's pretty fabulous.
Let's do something from that recent movie.
Shallow.
Yeah.
They're shallow. I heard somebody said this song Shallow.
Right.
All right, Mike Jipping. All right, and I won't look into Mike Jipping's eyes. Anyway, that's it. 49 SAF. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Aaron. Bye-bye.
Thank you.